not a Democrat
All
state,
right.
but they did it because of weed. And that's all. That's all I meant.
Guys, have the stream open on like your other computer or whatever device you have, just so it has viewers and stuff like that. Because I know you guys are all here, but all right, we are
Open on my Xbox, brother.
getting started right now.
Louisiana. I think
So-
Louisiana is corrupt mostly because of New Orleans and Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge.
All right, guys, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are doing a very spontaneous stream right now with a bunch of people in voice chat. We're going to be doing a live analysis of the 2024 presidential election. If you guys enjoy the stream, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join our Discord so you can talk with us, and please follow the Twitter because we're only at like 60 followers. I need way more than that. So let's get right into it. And so as of right now, Donald Trump is heavily favored to win the 2024 presidential election. You could see Donald Trump at 315 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 223 as of right now. And this was also my latest prediction in my previous video that came out today. And so I'm gonna have a lot of people here in VC kind of talking about this and see, what everybody really thinks. If somebody wants to give their analysis on like what could potentially happen this coming November and provide evidence for it, please go ahead.
Okay, so
TriStar, you go first.
okay,
I'm sorry.
TriStar goes first.
So I'll say this. Now, when I make these predictions, I'm not saying a state like California or Vermont or Massachusetts or Maryland is going to flip red. I'm not saying that. But with how poorly Biden is doing, how much worse I think his approval rating is going to get. Usually, when it comes to approval ratings, that's how much of the vote they're probably going to get. Like if he's say getting a 35% approval rate, he's probably going to get 35 to 36% of the vote, and that's just if it's him. But that's not even counting third party, which I think this time is actually taking a lot from Biden because what I'm gathering, Biden is doing very poorly with progressive voters because I feel like he hasn't done nearly enough and he's a lame duck. He's not Bernie or whatever. And while I make these predictions, keep in mind this is because of third party takeaway for Biden. And I don't see really anybody taking much away from Trump. Maybe a few votes here and there, but not many. Don't be shocked. These states are really close. New Mexico, Colorado, Illinois, Virginia, Minnesota, and New York.
Okay, well, before we continue, let's come up with a consensus agreement of like which of these candidates are gonna get a certain amount of the popular vote. So I'm gonna actually add Jill Stein in here. We're gonna add everybody in here. We're gonna add Jill Stein. I'm gonna add Cornel West in here as well.
Kennedy Jr.
I'm gonna add him too. I'm doing him as purple. And RFK Jr. And on top of that, I'm also going to be adding the no labels as well because they will be running somebody as of next week. They did announce that they are actually going to run somebody, so I am going to find a separate color for them.
That'd probably be Nikki Haley.
Not gonna lie,
I'm gonna be honest.
that'd be insane.
To be honest, I would not be surprised if the no labels ticket is Mitt Romney and Joe Manchin.
That'd be crazy. That'd be insane.
I think it's gonna be cinema.
Maybe.
Maybe
It very well could be cinema.
So as of right now, this is all of the hypothetical candidates that are going to be on the ballot in 2024. And so what we could do is let's come up with a general consensus of who's going to get what percentage of the popular vote based out of all 6 candidates running, which sounds crazy that there are potentially 6 candidates running the cycle. So let's start out with the third. Well, what do you guys think we should start out with? Should we start out with the third party votes or should we start out with Joe Biden and Trump shares?
I would
No,
choose Trump and
Can I say something about RFK Jr. real quick?
What do you want to say?
Wait a second. Let's clear something up. So this map you're making on screen here, you're doing popular vote as opposed to who's going to win the state.
No, no,
Now,
no, no, no.
all that shading.
I'm gonna come up with a popular vote consensus here first and type it into the parentheses, and we're gonna do an electoral map based off of that popular vote share. Because then we could work around like,
Okay.
okay, if Trump is leading the popular vote by 5, then yeah, okay, Colorado could be under 5, like TriStar saying,
All right.
for example.
I just want to make sure
why.
we're clear on what you're doing.
Right. So that's
Or
why.
could I say something? Can I say something about RFK Jr. real quick?
What?
So, you know how like RFK Jr. is like making his own party and stuff in some of these states to get on the ballot?
Okay.
Well, there's a chance that like the Libertarian Party could endorse Kennedy, so that would probably hurt Biden more.
You might be
Because the-
correct, but he's not going to take. He's going to take communist votes, not libertarian votes. He's not a libertarian. He's a left-wing crazy person.
He's more of like a libertarian leftist, Kennedy. And he ran on like the platform of like peace and a good environment.
Yeah, his
And you know,
climate change.
well, yeah, and that probably might hurt him in the Midwest a little bit. But I think since he is a little bit of a populist candidate, I think that would bring him more momentum in the Midwest than the climate change issue.
If Kennedy is going to take any votes that will not be from a Republican, I'll put it that way.
That's what I'm saying. He's doing very well with a lot of your progressive party voters.
Right.
So
I don't think I think the progressives would either go to Cornel West or Jill Stein. I don't think they would go to RFK Jr. I think you could see, however, a lot of disaffected black voters and Latino voters shift towards RFK Jr. though.
That could be a possibility, which may cancel out some major gains for Donald Trump. Funny enough, theoretically, if this was just an election between Trump and Biden, Trump would probably do better in the African American vote because there would basically be no other alternative option to pick for people to stomach. I feel like a lot of disaffected Hispanic and Africans are going to vote for Trump. Not all of them. Some of them are going to switch to Trump and some will stick with Biden, but I think for the most part, a lot of them are going to shift towards RFK. So I think in this case, we could say no labels probably gets like 2.5% of the popular vote. I don't think that they'd do a lot. I think Cornel West probably gets like 1.5%, and I think Jill Stein probably gets like 2% of the national popular vote. Now, RFK is a little bit tricky because he's polling really high. However, I don't think he's going to end up maintaining that much of a vote share. But I do think that in a scenario where he does run, I think he could get about 9.5. So that leaves for the rest of the electorate, basically leaves, right? So 2 plus 1.5 plus 2.5 plus 9.5 is 15. So 100 minus 15.5, 84.5% of the popular vote electorate is left as of right now. And so I think in this scenario, Donald Trump probably
48%.
he probably does actually retain like his 47%. I think he probably would get like 46.8% of the popular vote because I think that RFK would siphon off just some votes from him, but I think for the most part he'd do decent. And that would leave Biden. That leaves Biden with 37.7% of the national popular vote. That leaves him with just 37%, which is roughly where he's sitting at in an approval rating as of right now. That's That's roughly where his approval rating is. So yeah, effectively he'd be screwed at this point in time. He'd be
That means he's beating Trump is beating Biden by almost 10%.
as of right now in the popular vote according to this scenario.
If this scenario plays out, the percentages that you're stating,
Right.
there only states that will electorally go for Biden would probably be strongholds like DC,
Right. And
California,
Massachusetts,
Michigan.
and
so
No,
this is what would
I
probably
guess
this is what would probably happen. And guys, keep in mind this is a scenario where like all the third party candidates are here and they get a very large amount of the vote share for the most part. So I think in this scenario Donald Trump would win all these states, you know, solid red, absolutely no problem. Iowa and Ohio are going to be, you know, safe Republican margins. They're probably going to be over R plus 20 in this scenario. You'd see South Carolina be safe. Arkansas would be safe. You'd see Florida be like an R plus 19, R plus 20 state. And Texas would be at a R plus 17, 18 scenario at this point in time. And so that gives Donald Trump, you know, 215 safe electoral votes. You'd see states like California go likely for Donald Trump. You'd see states, Maryland would still be safe, DC would still be safe, Massachusetts,
Like
Vermont.
California wouldn't be likely for Trump, it'd be likely for Biden.
That oh well, but likely for Biden, yeah, excuse me. So that would be the case in that scenario. As we keep going forward, I think North Carolina would probably be like an R plus 13 state. I don't think it's safe, but I think it is like R plus 13. Wisconsin, again, really close. It's like a R plus 12, R plus 11 state, but I don't think it'd be, you know, like completely safe. I actually think in this scenario, Michigan would go safe because I feel like a lot of votes, you know, a lot of the, you know, Israel Palestine votes, a lot of disaffected voters from Biden's camp would, all the third party candidates would really draw more votes here. So I actually think in this scenario, Trump would probably end up winning by like 15, 16 points in Michigan. He'd actually win it by more than he would North Carolina. I think
I would
Georgia,
also
he
in that
probably
scenario.
he probably wins Georgia by like 10 or 11 in this scenario.
In this scenario, though, Oregon's got to turn wacky.
Yeah. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Pennsylvania would still be likely, in my opinion. I think Pennsylvania would actually be like only a 9-point win in this scenario. Just because I think that more than likely, I think RFK would appeal a little bit more to some rural voters here and some suburban votes. So it actually kind of be a wash for both candidates here. But I think that Donald Trump does actually pull out a decent sized victory in the state here. I think in Illinois, well, actually, let's go to some other states first. I think New Mexico in this scenario is probably lean Republican. It probably votes for Trump by like 4.5 points. I don't think it's even close in this scenario. I think he wins it basically in a landslide, you know, for modern day standards at this point. I think another state that'd be a big margin for Trump would actually be Virginia, and he'd actually win it by more than New Mexico. And the reason why is because I think a lot of, you know, a lot of independents in this state, I think would really flock to RFK. Per se, he'd take a lot of votes here. So I do think that Donald Trump actually does win the state by, you know, probably 6 or 7 points in the scenario just because of the fact that there'd be a lot of, you know, independents that probably would shift, you know, towards Trump, or at least a lot of RFK votes would be, you know, he would siphon a lot of votes from Biden. I
He's
think,
rebuilt the solid South.
and I think that Minnesota in this case would be likely just because of the fact, again, RFK would take a lot of votes in the Minneapolis area. I think No Labels would actually do pretty good here. And Cornel West would get a decent share here as well. So I think overall it actually really benefits him in this scenario. I think Arizona is likely. It's probably a 7-6 point win for Trump. RFK again takes some vote. I think Arizona would be the largest share for the No Labels. I think No Labels probably gets like 0.4% here. Maybe even like half a point of the popular vote here. They'd actually do pretty well in the state of Arizona. And so I think because of that, the state margin is going to be a lot bigger. And I think Nevada would be a likely margin. It's probably like an 8 or 9 point win for Trump in this case. RFK and no labels, and even like Jill Stein, like all the third party candidates would do really well here. And I think because of that, they are going to shift the state super Republican. I think that obviously Nebraska's first and at-large are safe. I think Nebraska's second is likely. RFK, I think, would actually do pretty good here, and I think he would get a decent amount of the vote share. I think Maine at large is probably.
He actually has a lot of support in Omaha. Kennedy does.
Yeah, and I think that Maine at large would actually be like a R+9 victory, similar to Nevada, just because of the fact that third-party candidates tend to do really well in Maine, and I actually think that Maine's first would fall under the likely margin, and I think that Maine's second would be like a R+25 victory for Trump, so he'd do really good in the state there. I think as of right now, we're getting into more strongholds here. I think New Hampshire is lean. I think that RFK does actually siphon off some votes from both candidates evenly. So I think Trump probably wins the state by 3 or 4 in this scenario. And I think in a scenario like this, I'd actually say that Colorado is kind of a three-way race between three of them. I actually think RFK would do really good in Colorado. I legitimately think he'd probably get
he would also do very well in the New England states because of his last
he
name.
did really well here. But I think in this scenario, it's hard, but I am going to give it a Trump by like literally a 1.5. It's close, but he wins it. It's really, really close, but he does actually end up winning it in this scenario. And so
Was this a scenario? Wait.
this is a scenario if Trump basically wins the popular vote by 10. Because what we're doing is we gave Trump like 46% of the popular vote, and Biden's sitting at like 37 because all the third party candidates are taking a bunch of votes away from him, essentially. That's basically all it is. So
It's basically 1912 all over again.
something, yeah, pretty much. The next scenario that we would have is the state of Illinois, which I think Trump would probably actually win by more than what he would in Colorado by, just because I think here Donald Trump would really maximize his African American support. I think New York in this scenario is lean as well. I think it is lean in this scenario. And Oregon, I think, is tilt Trump just because third party votes would do really good here. Oregon, RFK would siphon off a lot of that deep Democratic support. So I think he does get it. I think Washington is still lean Democrat. I think Biden probably wins it by 2 points in this scenario. So as of right now, I also think the states of like Connecticut could be a lot closer. I actually think Delaware does flip to Trump as well as the state of New Jersey. I think both of these would flip, and I think the state of Rhode Island would be close, but I think it barely flips to Trump.
Well, you mentioned that
in
Trump
this
is
case.
gaining a lot of support in New Jersey.
In Hawaii, I think Trump in this scenario would probably end up winning it by more than likely like a lean margin. He probably wins it by like 3 or 4. He probably wins it by almost 5. Because I think RFK would do really good here, and no labels would probably do pretty good here too. So combining all of that, you'd basically end up getting this map. So if the third party votes end up being a large amount of the vote share, it's not really that hard to say that, Biden could lose the Electoral College by a pretty substantial amount. And this is in line with polling that we've gotten, from recent, polls. RFK's been polling anywhere from like, 8 to 15% nationally. So to say that, oh my God, this is super unrealistic is not even that impossible. Now, if we were to do a one-way kind of scenario like between just Biden and Trump, and I like had to pick, like if I had to say, okay, like I had to pick who was gonna, do what in the popular vote, I think, and this is a scenario where third party candidates don't do the best. I think Trump probably gets like 49.2%, and Biden probably does like maybe 47.3. So it's like almost R+2. It's basically what the RCP average is. The average has it at right now. And so I
See,
think
what you had that map in, with all the
it was
states
like
going past,
400. It was like 433 or something like that. But I think it's still a far stretch for that to happen, but it's not impossible. It's really not impossible to see that actually happen. And basically with this popular vote, I think Donald Trump does decent in the Electoral College. I think he he gets the 315 that I've been talking about, because I actually think he'd win the state. I think he wins the state of Maine before he even wins a state like Minnesota or even like New Hampshire. In my personal opinion, he probably wins those but he probably wins Maine before, just because the polling data there looks a lot better for him now than in a state like Minnesota or even New Hampshire, because the polling data there looks awful for Trump. I mean, especially for Trump being ahead by so much. I think the polling data there honestly just looks really bad for him, in my opinion.
To me, that makes some sense. Usually, New Hampshire and Maine kind of both
Well, if
with
you
each
look,
other.
well, no, if you look, actually, if you look at the polling average right now, Biden's actually up in the polling average by like 8 percentage points. Now, I know these polls are old. I know these are way older. It goes back to like, September, but we had a poll last month that still has Biden up by 7. And yes, the only reason why I have it as lean is because, yes, incumbents are not favorable in New Hampshire overall, similar to a state like Alaska. And so, yeah, that's basically what we're looking at.
On point, I have an interesting question for you.
What?
Considering Trump wins the election, he's going to need a Republican-controlled House and Senate in order to advance his agenda and get it through
Right.
to actually get things done.
John Willard
What
for
would a
199.
what would a house
Yeah.
what would a house under Trump look like?
Like
We do one of those predictions.
like a house prediction. I am gonna post one soon, and actually tomorrow, guys. Please, everybody in the stream, please like the stream, subscribe if you're new. Tomorrow at around, I think it's like 2 p.m. Eastern time, I'm posting a video going over all the polls, so please be sure to check that out. And I am going to be doing a house prediction as well and a Senate prediction coming up. I know I've been lagging on those, but so as of right now, for Alaska, the thing is I have Trump winning it by 15, and I know they have ranked choice voting, but like I don't know, man. I think that maybe if Trump's winning Alaska by over 15, I can't see her winning again. I can't. I cannot see Mary winning by
The thing you got to remember though is in 2016 Trump won everything, and in 2016 and before 2018 he was being obstructed by a lot of rhinos. That's not going to happen this time. If Trump wins the election, he's going to win both houses and he's going to clean up.
Right, and but what I'm thinking here is that, yeah, I think maybe she does go down, especially if he's polling this good in the national popular vote and things like that. I think for Arizona's first, you see Biden won this district by 1.5, in the House 0.9, so it is a little bit more of a favorable thing, and he has been a long-term incumbent, so I do think in Arizona's first he does hold on. I think in Arizona 6, I think this guy holds on too, because he won it by 1.5. This was a really close Biden district, which I don't think he's going to win it again. So I'd still say, okay, maybe
think-
he's a new Republican House of Rep. I think that he does end up winning it just ever so slightly, since I do have Trump taking the state. Now, California's 13th. This was a really close district in 2020. It was really close, and Biden wins this by about 10 percentage points. I expect Biden to underperform, but I'm very iffy about this one. Where is California? Let's see where California 13th is at, actually. Let's pull it up here. I actually don't know exactly where. Okay, so it's like right about here. Uh I'd say if Trump is doing really good with Hispanics and making a lot of inroads, I think maybe it is a hold. I think in California 22nd, if you come over here, I believe it's this one. Yep, I think that'd probably be a hold as well. And I think Mike Garcia, it's obvious. He probably actually wins by a likely margin at this point, because he's been a very big overperformer, in the House of Reps. And if Trump is going to gain in the state of California by approximately almost, 10 to 15 points, depending on how good of a night he has, I could see Mike Garcia probably winning his seat by like a likely margin, in my opinion. I think the next state here is the state of Colorado. This was a close district in 2022. It was a lean, district here. And if we go all the way up, it does have, it is right in the Denver area. So I'd say this is a hold for the Democrats. Just because I see Colorado trending to the left. If we get that, huge landslide scenario for Trump where he does very well, then that's a different story. But as of right now, I think that probably based off of a, sort of one two-way scenario where the third parties do okay, like based off my current prediction, I think that this would be the map as of right now in Colorado. I think Jared Golden, I understand that he is a more moderate Democrat, but he's been very iffy on like gun issues lately, and he is in Maine second, and I think Trump's probably going to win it close to 15. So I'd say maybe he does go down this cycle, especially after the whole gun. I don't know if it was like banning assault rifles or gun control, but all I know it was a very bad take on like guns in general. So I think that that's going to mess him up. I think Michigan 7th does end up flipping. She's retiring to
Republicans.
what?
Republicans are running a strong candidate in Maine second this time around.
Right, no, I think yeah, but even regardless of that, I think that Jared Golden it probably still goes down because Trump's probably gonna win Maine second by a lot. So that's
Probably going to take it by more than 10 if I had to
Right.
guess.
Well, he won it by a lot in 2020, but Jared Golden still won the district.
right, but I think now with the whole gun issue that Jared Golden kind of had, that little gaffe, I think that's really gonna mess him up there. And with Trump almost winning the district by 15, I could see it, possibly leaning towards, possibly flipping as of right now. I think Michigan's eighth, it says the incumbent is not running. It was a close district, and I think if Trump is winning the state by 1.5, I think that Michigan's eighth could possibly be a flip as well. If we go to North Carolina's first, now from what I understand, wasn't this like a redistricted? This was redistricted, right? Let's see. Yeah, North Carolina's first is here, and but hello.
We're listening.
Okay, so I think this
Right.
was a redistricted area like very recently. So I think that this could also be a Republican flip, especially if I have Trump winning the state by 6. I think that that district
I
probably
believe that
flip.
Davis will go down.
Yeah, I think he does, in my opinion, too. I think Don Bacon, it's hard because right now I have Nebraska second as like tilt Republican, and if Trump's winning it, more than likely Don Bacon probably holds because Trump.
Don Davis is loved by the North Carolina GOP.
If if Dan Fry somehow takes out Don Bacon, will that seat hold, you think, or do you think the Republicans will lose it?
If Don Bacon is not the candidate there, it depends. I think if he's not the candidate, and if you don't have the incumbent running, I think maybe the Democrats do pull it off, especially since I have it at a really close margin for Trump. I have him winning it by a tilt margin. So I think, yeah, in that case, it would probably be a Democratic flip. In New Jersey 7th, Tom Keene got in 2.8%. The district in 2020 was 9. You think yeah, I think it's a hold too because I think Trump was probably going to either barely flip it or get close. New Mexico's second, Gabriel Vasquez, he only won it by a tilt margin despite it being a better year for Democrats than expected. And I think that, Donald Trump right now, is sitting at a, like I think he's probably going to get the district closer. So maybe it is a Democratic hold right now, but I could see it being closer. New York's fourth, Anthony Despacito. Okay, why are all these NIA? I think it's because they get like a new map pass. Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what happened. But I was also going to say about New Mexico second. I've got Vasquez. Oh, I have Vasquez holding on. Plus, I don't know if you're aware about this on point, but they extremely gerrymandered New Mexico second. If you didn't already know already.
Oh, then yeah, then he's probably gonna end up holding on then, in my opinion. Oh, Biden is giving a speech in Pennsylvania right now, and he said Pennsylvania,
Lord.
he said Pennsylvania, I have a message for you. Send me to Congress. That's what he said according to Benny Johnson. So that's kind of funny. And then he's
What a sharp,
Base.
sharp old man, that guy.
yeah, I know.
Very base.
Yeah, so he said that in Pennsylvania.
Unlike the previous cycle, Trump is gonna bring like almost all the Republicans home to him.
Yeah, he's probably gonna have an even more unified base than he did in 2020. But Trump's gonna get a lot of.
Like
You
in
know what I
2020
actually
and
think?
2016, they didn't trust him, but now they do.
You know what I think?
Especially how bad Biden have shown his true colors.
You know
You,
what I
you got to
think is gonna
understand too.
happen?
Oh,
This.
hold on, point just real quick here. They don't have a choice anymore. The Republicans that are rhinos don't have a choice. They want to survive. They're going to get behind them. That's it.
I guess that could be the case as well, but I think that, yeah, he's gonna have a really unified base overall. And so I think that by the time that we get, to the election, he may even have a more unified base than what he even did in like 2020. He's probably gonna get most Republicans, to be honest. Even if you look at like the CNN poll, or it wasn't CNN, it was like MSNBC. Steve Kornacki was looking at a poll, and it showed like Biden only is keeping like 85% of his voters, but Donald Trump is keeping like 97%, and that puts Biden at like 69 million, and that puts Trump at like 72 million votes. So
And the Trump base keeps growing every
that's
day.
effectively like a R+2 national environment. So the polls may not even be that off if those polls are accurate enough. So
And
that
plus,
right. However, I do
Hold on,
think
so
Trump's
the
gonna get
poll.
votes than he did in 2020. I mean, that's my opinion. I think he's gonna get more than 74 million.
So, okay, so if you're saying that 97% of Trump supporters in 2020 are going to vote for him in 2024, while 15% of Biden supporters aren't going to vote for him this time in 2024. So I think those 15% are probably just going to vote for like a third party or just not go out to vote. Or worst of all, just decide later that they're going to vote for Biden. I think the 3% for Trump that won't vote for him, maybe they'll vote for RFK Jr.
You got to remember, too,
But
sometimes people just stay home. I've done it before.
Mhm.
yeah, and and that's the problem for
Oh,
Biden.
what
But
the? Wait, whoa! Tucker and Chris Cuomo are doing an episode with each other. Oh crap!
I can't wait to see that. I hope they
That's
bring a wrestling ring into it.
that's gonna be.
and apparently, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban is at Mar-a-Lago right
He's in
now.
Mar-a-Lago. Oh, that's crazy.
Viktor
He's at-
Orban, the
he-
Prime Minister of Hungary.
Yeah, I know who that is. Oh, wow, he's there.
Yep. Apparently, from what I just saw here on Twitter from Ben A. Johnson.
Wow.
I really think it'd be funny if I'm not gonna
Marjorie,
say it, forget.
Mike
you all like
Johnson.
Marjorie
Mike
Taylor
Johnson
Greene?
yesterday was honestly super funny. I thought he was hilarious yesterday.
Marjorie
He's a fighter for sure.
Wait, who is hilarious?
The Mike Johnson yesterday during the State of the Union.
Sitting in the background, just shaking his head.
Yeah, it was super funny. And sometimes like
He-
Biden would say something, he'd look right at the camera. It was hilarious. I thought it was super funny.
You know what he should have done is dress
What?
up in a blue dress and rip papers like Nancy Pelosi did that one time.
That would have been funny too.
I could tell that Johnson was mad, but he can't really say anything.
A
Yeah.
lot of people did though. They kept shouting over Biden, calling him a liar and stuff. That
Can
was
you
great.
imagine if like
But then again, it would be professional.
can you
to
imagine?
be honest, everyone in their State of the Union speech, like every president, is probably gonna lie once or twice. So I'm not surprised that Biden lied in his State of the Union speech.
Yo, look at this. So this guy in my comments on my video said, "Why Mass says Trump loses." All numbers from Axios and Gallup. 5 million more registered Democrats than Republicans in the USA. The 18 million independents say they favor Dems by 4. So 5 million plus 8.8 is 5.8 million. 40% of GOP polled says never voting for Trump. I don't know where the hell he got that. That is minus 24 million votes. Let's say that drops, say 25%, some will change their minds. So that is still, he's literally just playing around with it. He said, oh, let's say 1/4 of them stick with Trump. So now it's minus 17.3. And let's say, and then he adds the independents and the other people, and then that ends up being a 23 point million. It's a 23 million point. It's a 23 million vote lead for Biden. And then he's saying, okay, if Biden loses 23% of Democrats, he still wins the popular vote by 8 million, or like 8 million votes.
There's no fixing crazy, brother.
No, that's actually insane. There's no way Biden's gonna as of right now, there's no way Biden's gonna pass his guys, I do have a hot take. I think it's still possible for Biden to theoretically get more than 81 million, but I don't think the spread of the popular
I
vote
think
is gonna
turnout is gonna
it-
drop.
Okay, well, it depends because I actually disagree. I think turnout's gonna be higher because I think a lot of people are gonna come out for Trump. And it's gonna be a lot of like normie voters and a lot of more younger voters are gonna come out for him. But then that's also gonna energize the other side to kind of come out too. So there is a scenario where if Biden starts polling a little bit better, where he could theoretically get more than 81 million, but Trump is obviously gonna gain way more than that. So I don't think that
I
Biden's
think
spread of the popular vote could be more than 7 million, but I still think that there is a scenario where Biden could possibly get more than 81 million votes. I think he still can
I think people
because of
are
the
just
polarization,
I think
but
people are mad about their choices for 2024 that they have to pick between one old man and one orange man. Keep in mind that Trump and Biden are both unpopular, and that's really why turnout is going to decrease because in 2020, Joe, he was seen as Scranton Joe. That's why people voted for him in Scranton because he was seen as like normal. But since he's the incumbent now, turnout is going to drop for him. And
The thing about all that is geez, you get a guy like Biden who wins via what I call nefarious means, at least a little bit, plus a pandemic, plus people just not liking Trump. But Trump at this point is not popular like Reagan, but he's still more popular than Joe.
Mhm.
yeah, but you see, the people that disapprove Trump, they would rather have Biden than Trump.
Okay, guys, let's
And
continue with the house because I actually never got to finish the house predictions yet. So let me focus.
yeah, my bad.
No, we're good. We got off a tangent, but let's keep going with these. So, Anthony Despacito, how's that redistricted? How's that looking? Because I honestly don't know what it looks like now. How's that district looking?
Well,
Redist-
it's
the
14%.
redistrict. On point.
It's
I'm gonna
14.
Okay. Can I
Sorry.
speak, please? On point.
Yeah,
I am going to send you a photo of the new map that I put together,
Okay,
and I'd like you to take a look at it.
send me in the chat really quick. Send it to me so I can see what that's looking like. Because I honestly have no clue. I should know what it looks like, but I honestly have no idea.
It looks similar to the old one.
It looks similar
Just
to the.
takes a little bit of the.
Wherever
Yeah,
it is.
it looks similar.
It looks
It just
okay.
takes more of Long Island, Suffolk County, I think. Is that
Sent it.
Okay, well let's look at the let's look at this then. I'm gonna pull this up. Okay, so effectively he's got I think if Trump is overperforming and this guy won in 2022, I'd say maybe it's a hold. In my opinion, I think Michael Lawler could be a hold as well. And the only reason why I'm saying this as of right now, I just think it's because of the fact that Trump is going to improve in the state by possibly 10 points or even more than that. I have Biden winning it by 8, 9 points. So I think that those will be holds. And I think in New York's 19th, I could still see it being a hold, especially since that district is closer too. And I think in Ohio's, let's see, in Ohio's 13th, it's for sure gonna flip. That's definitely gonna be a flip because the district was really close in 2020, and I think Trump is gonna win the state by a lot more. So I don't think that's gonna be a problem either. Now, how is Oregon's 5th looking? Because this lady seems.
Can we talk about?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
What?
Can we talk about New York's first congressional district since Nicholas, what's the name again?
Nick LaLota.
Nicholas LaLota. Yeah. He's being primary challenged by George
Santos.
Santos.
I heard about that.
Biden won the district by 0.2%. That's probably not gonna hold. But what do you think about the primary challenge? Do you think it's
Honestly,
gonna work?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about his chances there. However, I think that I mean, I want him to win because George Santos overall has actually one of the most solid voting records out of like most Republican congressmen as of recent times. So, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of him doing it. I just don't know how much of a chance he has. What is Lolota's status as an incumbent? What is he looking at? Is he popular?
I think he voted to eject George Santos out.
Ooh.
This is literally George Santos right now.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
No, they honestly, I don't know why they even decided to vote him out. I think it's just because he's not corrupt and some Republicans got scared about that and they just decided to do it. I mean, I don't understand what was the reasoning behind that.
The reasoning was he was a furry.
And then also
Like, for
too, there's
real.
these people saying that he
It
lied
was
about
because he
other
was
stuff.
Jewish. It was because he was gay. It was because he was a minority. Identity politics, folks.
It was because he was a furry.
Because he was gay. They ejected him out because he was gay.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Where are those sound effects even coming from?
Don't worry about it.
They're coming from space, dude. Don't worry about it.
Hold on, give me a second, guys. Okay, we're good. How's Oregon's
That's what it is because
is that Biden? Was that
that's what it is because he is who he is. That's why it is what it is.
what the? That doesn't even sound like him for real. That's not. He's not.
This is what it is because he is who he is. That's why it is what it is.
Different. He said that. He said that in the presidential debate
Mhm.
too, but he also said that in a rally. I've never heard him say it in a rally before. He sounds a lot. He sounds like, was that 2020? Because he sounds way younger there, even though it's only been a few years.
I think it was like probably maybe like 2019 to 2020.
He still sounds way younger there.
One question: do you think Mike Johnson made a mistake with the spending bills, or do you think do you think Johnson did the right thing with the spending bills, or do you think he should have shut the government down until we got some border security? Because people on Twitter are saying that he's not MAGA because he didn't shut the government down.
Who, Trump?
I think it would be funny if the government shut down because I just want to listen to all the fucking chaos that goes down and how the government fucking explodes.
What do you think, On Point?
About what, like the border and all that stuff? I think that right now.
No, not that. I'm talking about the spending bills that Johnson passed. Do you think he should have shut the government down, or do you think he made the right choice with those spending bills?
I think he should have shut the government down. I mean, to be fair, Mike Johnson's a better House Speaker than Kevin McCarthy for sure. Last State of the Union, Kevin McCarthy was just sitting there like a freaking bozo, just sitting there with a blank face, not making a single facial expression about anything this dude was saying. But Mike Johnson seems to be way more competent. So I think that he's doing a lot better than Kevin McCarthy for sure. However, he definitely should have.
I'm just looking at Twitter right now.
He should have shut down.
Sorry if I just interrupted.
Oh, look, Lakeland Riley's mother in response to the State of the Union. Biden does not even know my child's name. It's pathetic. Ooh. Damn, bro.
That's okay. Kamala, the Ugandan hen hunter, was still classroom.
I can't believe he actually messed that up. Like, that's how you know he really hasn't even been paying attention, because that's crazy. Also, guys, the guy who screamed out about his son being killed in Afghanistan, he got arrested for that.
Well, I mean, it's illegal to interrupt the Emperor of the United States as he eats ice cream and shits his
Yeah.
pants.
Yeah, it's insane, honestly. I'm really ashamed about
Biden. I think I remember Biden like being asked about Super Tuesday and shit, and he was just standing there shitting his fucking pants and didn't know what to say about it. Like he was just like, I think his ADHD kicked into him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have ADHD. He has ancient man syndrome.
People know.
Oh, that is also a disease too.
Pretty sad. I watched my grandfather go through the same thing, only he wasn't running the country.
Yeah, also, not gonna lie, guys.
Very sad.
Yo, that guy, Biden, bro, when he started the speech, I was like, what the hell is he's like yelling like in the first like 2 minutes of the speech. I've already found that kind of weird. Not gonna lie.
Last the last one of those I watched is when Trump gave Rush Limbaugh a medal. And even during that, Trump was trying to be cordial.
Right. And on
Watching
top of that,
Biden
he
freak out.
threatened, he literally threatened the Supreme Court yesterday. Like, he dead ass like was like, you're gonna see the electoral power women have in the Supreme Court. I was like, what the hell, bro? Like, what was that? I was like, God damn. Also, have you guys seen Ben Carson's releasing a book?
Very funny, Joe.
He's releasing a book.
Your good old Joe, just on TV, yapping. I almost fell asleep during his speech because it was boring as shit.
Right. No, but look, so okay, let's keep going with the House. So Oregon's fifth. How's that looking? Because this lady won in 2022, but the district is really Democratic. So is that gonna be a flip for the Democrats, or is that gonna be a hold? Like, how's that gonna go? And she's also a new
I feel like
too.
well, there's a few things I want to talk about when it comes to Oregon 5th. The biggest one is not that the district is fully Democrat. That I understand. But by looking at these numbers, it's less than 10%. It only went for Biden by like 9%. And so that's less than 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying it's a hold. I'm not saying it's a hold or a Dem flip, but the way I look at it, she's the incumbent. I don't know if she's well liked, but if she's the incumbent and she's well liked, she'll hold.
Well, let's actually look this up then.
The reason she went to the finish line was because of Christine Drazin on the ballot in Oregon. I mean,
well, then
she did pretty well. She didn't win. She was expected to win, but it was still a 3% difference.
Well, guys, if we look at this article that released on May 9, 2023, her approval rating is very low in the district. She's actually only at 21%, according to this article as of right now.
Well, if that's the case, then it's a flip.
Yeah, and then if we look here, it says Chavez Demar again leads. Oh, she leads all Oregon congressional candidates for fundraising though, so that is interesting. And she's brought in 620K as of September 30th. She also has 1.3 million available cash to spend on her campaign. So it's a little interesting, to say the least. So that's interesting. So it seems even though her approval rating is sort of low, at the same time she's raising a lot of money there.
I think the reason she won in 2022 was because of Drazin on the ballot. Christine Drazin. She ran for governor.
Right.
And she got like really good margins for the state of Oregon.
Right. So I think now let's say that Democrats do flip it, but I think it is close. I think Susan Wild, I think she loses. The district was really close in 2020. Donald Trump's probably going to carry that district in Pennsylvania, especially if he's winning the state by 2.5, 3 points. So I think that's a flip. Pennsylvania, 8th, Cartwright. It's been a long-term incumbent since 2013. He won in 2022. The district in 2020 was 2.9 though. So this one's a little rough. This one's harder than 7th. I'd say maybe it's a hold for now. But we're going to keep going. And then Washington's 3rd. I think it's going to be a Republican flip. She barely won it in 2022 when Democrats were doing a lot better, nationally than anticipated. And right now, the district is 4.2 Republican. I think it's going to be more than that. So I'd say it's a flip. So as of right now, I actually have Republicans at 228 seats to 207 seats as of right now. That's what I have right now. So that's basically what I'm looking at this point in time.
Anyways,
for this,
Can we see Mary Perez's approval rating? And if there is one,
well, let's see who, her.
yeah.
I just think the district was way too close, for her, and then it's a red district, so I think she might be screwed.
I mean, it was an upset in 2022. I think it was going to be like 10 points. That was expected, but then she won the district by a narrow margin. So I don't really know what went down in Washington's 3rd district.
There's no
All I know.
I had something I wanted to bring up. This is just
okay.
in.
Guys, look at this.
Um,
So apparently she's actually refused to support Biden's student loan forgiveness, which is kind of interesting, which may actually hurt her a little bit. So I don't know.
I mean,
okay, Alan.
it could.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Alan.
Hey, what's going on?
I also wanted to bring out the fact that I just saw this on Twitter. I'll see if I can find it again. But Todd Young is not going to support Trump for 2024.
I saw that. I did see that.
So he's going
Wait, can you repeat that again?
Todd Young is not going to support Donald Trump as the 2024 nominee.
Todd Young.
Yeah, the other senator from Indiana. Braun already endorsed him.
Nah,
Didn't that guy win in Didn't that guy win in a landslide in his Senate race?
Take a look.
It was like 20 points or something.
Trump's got to find a primary challenger to him.
Well, he can't primary challenge him. He was elected again in 2022.
He's next up for election in 2028, but when that time comes, he needs to look for a primary challenge.
Well, everybody's going to forget about it till then. People don't understand that the voters' memory is very, very short. If you've noticed.
I'm well
People
aware of
don't
that.
remember
But he's also,
Afghanistan.
but he's always the worst. But he's one of the worst senators. That's why.
Let's see. So
Well,
he
guys,
won
right
his
I honestly think
20
let me make
7.
I think these are the safe Republican states for the Senate. I think Texas and Florida, they're likely. There's no question about that. California is safe. Washington is probably safe. All of these are safe. Bob Menendez is not running again. Well, Larry Hogan could actually make Maryland a little bit closer, and the polling looks really good for him. So I'm actually going to put it as likely for now. I think maybe Rhode Island, Connecticut could be likely.
I agree with that.
Maryland is not going Republican.
No, it's not, but I think it'll be under 15 though, with Larry Hogan on there. I think it's under 15. And I think that's gonna help with some that'll help with some down ballot races.
I would probably
I
maybe, but I'd probably say his best case scenario is probably 15 to 20. No. Not Larry Hogan's best scenario, the Democrats' best scenario. And I just think Maryland is a very establishment state for the Democrats. Like they support like establishment Democrats there. There's not really much progressives in Maryland. So it could benefit Hogan since he's like more of a moderate Republican. But
It's
I mean you have seen Republicans like Phil Scott win in like Vermont, but he's not really
Who is running? Who's running for
except for taxes.
who is running for New York Senate?
New York Senate.
Yeah.
So
Who is it? That's
they're not really.
Huh?
There's they haven't nominated somebody yet.
Well, I'm gonna put it as likely Democrat as of right now, since I do have Trump only losing the state by 8 or 9. I think he's gonna carry the ballot there a little bit. Angus King is gonna probably win easily. He's very popular in Maine.
Angus King. I want to say something about Angus King.
What?
He's not an independent. He caucuses with the Democrats 100% of the time.
Well, we know this. That's why I'm putting it as.
Yeah, but he registers as an independent, so he's basically an independent with left-leaning opinions.
Well,
I didn't want to say something about
So there's no such thing as like an I know or something like that. So independents aren't a political party.
Right.
Anyways, though, I did want to say this though, because oftentimes what you'll find is that governors can do really, really well. So like red state governors, Democrat red state governors, Republican blue state governors, whatever. They'll oftentimes run for Senate and get it closer, but they never seem to win it because it's a federal election. Federal elections are very, very different from statewide elections. Like you saw this with.
Well, I mean, you did see Joe Manchin win in West Virginia in 2018, but like he was the incumbent, so you could make that excuse.
Right, and
West Virginia was not nearly as red when he was elected.
Right, and
So
he
it's a
and
little
he won
different.
by 3, so that was the thing too. You had only won by 3 points back then. So
I'm just saying, it just seems to be, if you look at like the past 10 years, whenever governors ran for Senate that were like moderate governors, they just didn't seem to win all too much.
all right, well, the next state that we're going to be looking at, Ohio and Montana are going to be lean. I used to have Montana as likely, but with all the stuff that's been happening there recently, and now Tim Sheehy's going to be the nominee, I think it's closer, but I think they still beat Tester just because I think Trump's going to win the state by so much. But I think it is going to
Polling for Tester and Brown are really good, so I think the GOP should probably spend more money on Ohio and Montana.
They
if they wanna
should,
win
but I don't think that the Democrats are going to win there. I don't think so, just because Trump's going to win the state by so much. I can't see Ohio voting for Trump by 13, but Sherrod Brown wins the state. I don't think that's going to happen. In Montana, I can't see Trump winning it by over 20, but Tester holding on. Like, that's just, I don't think the ticket splitting is going to be that much, especially over the past couple of years. States really don't cross vote in Senate elections during presidential years. The only time this has happened in 2016 and 2020 is when Susan Collins won in Maine. That's the only time that's happened. Other than that, no state has cross voted whatsoever in the Senate during a
That is still
presidential.
really early on.
So
You talking about Collins from Maine?
yes, so I think because
She's a rhino. That's why.
huh?
She's a rhino.
Well, of course, but that's the only state that cross voted. So I think because of that, I think that it's not going to be likely that there's going to be major cross voting like that. I think in Minnesota it's likely. Klobuchar's an electoral juggernaut there, but I think this is going to be the closest election she's had, but she'll probably win it by like 6 or 8 points in that range, depending. I think Virginia's a lot closer than people are thinking. I think that Hung Kao actually probably only loses it by like 1 or 1.5 as of right now, because he's a really good candidate further in the run, and he's running against freaking Tim Kaine. So I think since Tim Kaine is the long-term incumbent there, and the state is more of a Democratic state, I think, yes, Tim Kaine will win, but I think it's even closer than what I had it at before. It could be a Republican flip. You know, if Trump possibly wins the state in a landslide scenario, he could easily win it. I think New Mexico is probably likely. I think that the Republican that runs here will probably, fall behind Trump by a couple of points. So I think it is likely on the Senate level. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I think Bob Casey probably wins the state by like 1 point, or 1.5. I think he's a strong incumbent. So I think because of that, he probably does hold on. And you have Dave McCormick, who is effectively an establishment Republican running for Senate. So I think that,
Who's in Connecticut?
yeah, exactly. So because of that, I think that he is probably going to end up, Bob Casey probably holds on to the state by like a couple of points. And now we're looking at this. Arizona, I think Kerry Lake actually barely picks it off. Gallego and Katie Hobbs are not the same candidate. Gallego is a much more far left guy, and optically, even in a state like Arizona, he may not fare out as well as Kerry Lake. I have Donald Trump winning the state, and I think Kerry Lake is going to perform somewhat in line with Donald Trump on the national level. So I think because of that, I think that Trump probably will bring her over the victory line, but we'll see. Another state that I think can flip is the state of Nevada. I think, they are running Sam Brown there. And so I think if Trump was winning the state by 2 or 3 points, he probably does carry Sam Brown just barely over the finish line. In Michigan, I think Alyssa Slotkin is running now in the seat, but the incumbent is not running. So I think it is a close state. I think Trump does win the state nationally, but I don't think it does flip yet. And you have the Eric guy running in Wisconsin. Now, I want to hear your guys' input on this because I actually do.
Eric Lippman.
Yeah, I do have Republicans winning Wisconsin just because if Trump is winning the state by 3.5 to 4 points, I can't see the state cross voting by that much.
I could honestly.
Huh?
There's not really much good candidates in Wisconsin, though.
It honestly depends on a few factors. One, does Donald Trump go out there and endorse Hove Day? If he goes out there and endorses Hove Day, who really thinks that Trump voters are going to cross vote and vote for Baldwin?
Honestly, a lot actually, because she is an institution there. She's been there for a while, and she's still broadly popular. So,
well, if Trump endorses Baldwin, or not Baldwin, but Hove Day, did I just say Baldwin and Trump endorsing Baldwin? Boy, am I? I'm having a little bit of brain fog right now because it's getting late. But, anyways, my point is, why would people cross over and vote for Baldwin that vote for Trump when Trump goes out there and endorses
here's the thing.
Hove Day?
Let's say scenario Trump wins by 3.5 in Wisconsin, right? All of his voters are not just going to be MAGA. All of his voters are not just going to be blindly following whatever he says. Many of them are going to be people who are generally apathetic and just think that they like him because they thought their lives are better under him. So they're going to be a little bit more willing to cross vote. A lot of the country is like that, and so what you have to understand is not everybody's going to vote for a candidate just because they like them. They're going to do it because they view it as a necessity. So they might like other politicians from other parties, even if they decide to vote one way or the other.
Well,
Can I say something
in
about?
this case, we could
Wait,
probably put
Can
Wisconsin
I?
as tilt Democratic.
One at a time.
And so I think as of right now, I do have Republicans at 54 seats to 46 as of right now.
Can I say something about California real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so I think that Adam Frisch being wait, did I just say Adam Frisch? Adam Schiff being the Democratic nominee is gonna hurt Democrats in California because I don't think he's popular at all. He's like a really bad candidate there. And I think Steve Garvey Adam Schiff, he made it to the Senate runoff. I think Katie Porter and Barbara Lee are gonna hurt Adam Schiff in the general, and I think
They're not going to be on the general ballot.
Well, yeah, but I think they're gonna attack him. They're gonna hurt him for the general, not technically on the ballot. Like, kind of just attack him because Katie Porter, she tweeted on Twitter that Adam Schiff rigged the election, I guess, with his like money spending or something. But I think that you could probably put California in the likely section since Steve Garvey is a really good candidate.
Mm. Well, as of right now, guys, I think that right now, like the Republicans are probably at 54 seats as of right now in the Senate. And so Donald Trump would effectively be going in with a trifecta now. So that's basically how I see it. I think he is going to be going in with a trifecta as of right now, but that's just going to be for later on. The video from today is hitting 20,000, by the way. It just actually spiked up like half an hour ago. It went from like 16K to 19K in like literally not even that long. It went from 16 to like it literally did that in like 30 minutes. So I appreciate if anybody's from watching the stream who just came from that. I appreciate the support on that because that's actually huge. The video already did good today and it's still going up rather quickly. So I really appreciate that. But guys, I think as of right now, we could do a 2028 map if you guys want me to do that. Just seeing based off of like, what's been going on now. And like if Trump were to win the Electoral College, what a 2028 map would look like. So if you guys do want to comment, like basically this is what I'll do. What I'll do is I'll put 4 options for the Republican nominee. So I'll probably put like Vivek, DeSantis probably. I'll put JD Vance
Marino.
as like a wild pick, and I'll put like Tucker or something. Like I'll just do that. Now for the Democrats, who do you think I should put for the Democrats? Well, actually, let's let everybody in chat vote for the nominee for the Republican nominee first. So everybody in the chat, let's get voting. Oh, I'm gonna let
I'll rig it. Pick Tucker.
chat pick.
Yeah, pick Tucker.
All right, well, if chat wants to pick Tucker,
I'll influence the vote. Pick Tucker.
Yeah, wait, no.
I'm
2028
rigging
pick
the
Tucker.
election. Pick Tucker.
No, 2028 pick Tucker versus Biden's ghost.
bro.
Oh, so Kamala Harris, basically.
Dear God, no. Oh my, horrifying human being.
Yo,
Just a horrible witch.
True.
Why did you post the poll again?
What?
I didn't post.
Never mind. It might be glitching. I don't know.
Nah, I only posted it once. Well, Vivek is winning the majority right now, so Vivek got 44%. So
Make it a runoff. Make it a runoff. Oh wait, it got 50%. Never mind.
yeah. So and then for the Democratic nominee, I'm actually gonna put for the Democratic nominee, I'm gonna put Harris just because she's one of the more realistic options. I'm gonna have Josh Shapiro as of right now. Who are the other 2 that I should put? Should I include RFK as like a
Newsom.
Newsom and Katie Hobbs.
No.
Katie Hobbs.
No.
Wait a second, hold on. You actually tell me that you think Newsom, I mean, anybody can look in California and say, yeah, this guy's awesome. You really think that
Well, Democrats have
this is on fire? It's not.
Well, okay. Who do you guys think I should put RFK as like a wild card option for the Democratic nomination? I think he might try to go for it in the future. I think he
He has
might.
to survive his throat cancer first, dude.
Oh, yeah, so I actually wanted to ask you guys about this. So, No Labels is gonna be running a candidate, and they're announcing it next
Yes,
Thursday.
yes.
They said they haven't decided yet on who
I'm gonna put
specifically it's
Whitmer
gonna
as the
be.
other option. I'm putting Whitmer as the other option. So I'm gonna let everybody vote for the Democratic nominee now, so we can, basically.
Wait.
Huh?
Wait. Oh, never mind.
I'm letting chat.
You already did.
Yeah, I already did.
I wanted to do something funny, like, so what if, like, Trump, he lost in 2024, and then he goes on to 2028, and he just switches back to the Democrat? I think that would be pretty funny, but it would never happen.
Like, wait, so like he would switch to the Democratic Party?
Well, he was like a Democrat in like 2000. I think it would
Oh.
just be like, I think it would
was-
be.
Sorry, just to make it clear, Trump was a long time a Reagan Democrat,
Yeah.
which means the
Well, he
conservative
was.
Democrat.
Well, he was, but like he opposed Bush and stuff. And this is hypothetical. I think this would never happen, but I think it would be pretty funny if he ran for the Democratic nomination in 2028.
Not gonna lie, bro. I'm gonna be.
Oh my goodness, they're still counting votes in California from Super Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah. Take a look.
They are.
Like at
Yeah,
71%.
They legitimately are still counting votes in California.
That's pathetic, dude. What?
They're plotting to rig the election.
California is a state that's gonna go for Biden at the end of the day, regardless. So
Yeah.
Biden can go to their
So-
house and start them on fire, and they still vote for him.
well, California is high on drugs. I will admit that.
Wait, isn't the like
All right.
okay?
Harris,
So
Harris is barely.
Republican presidential
Harris is barely
primary
in the
in
lead.
California.
Harris is barely in the lead in the polls, so I'm gonna give it to Harris. So basically, it's Kamala Harris versus Vivek. Now, this is on the context that he does win the 2024 election. So Donald Trump wins the 2024 election. And so if it is Vivek versus her, not gonna lie, yes, Vivek would win. However, I don't think he's gonna. I think it may be closer than people are thinking. I still
agree with
think
that.
he wins by a
I
decent
think-
amount. I think he probably wins by a similar amount that Trump does, to be honest. But I just can't see him. I can't see him winning 320 electoral votes. I don't think it's gonna happen. However, I think it would be a very similar election to 2020, in my opinion. I think it is a lot. It's very.
I think that Harris would probably win narrowly because Trump would probably be unpopular. Because let's be for real, Trump and Biden are both unpopular candidates in the 2024 election. And if Trump somehow becomes popular during the 2028 election, sure, I could see Vivek maybe win, but I doubt that would happen due to like divisiveness in this country. But I think the fact that Trump would be president in 2024, if that were to happen, I think the Democrats would have a good year in 2026 and probably 2028.
Yeah.
Do you see the?
Here's the thing,
No,
too.
I think Vivek would beat Harris though. I think if it's a different Democratic nominee,
It wouldn't really be a good environment for Vivek though, because the incumbent president would be Donald Trump. He is if he is elected in 2024, he is the Republican president. He cannot run for a second term due to rules, which I think you know. But overall, if he was the president, I think he would probably hurt Vivek. If Biden, however, was president, then Vivek would probably win. I mean, we thought in 2016 Hillary Clinton We thought that she would win in 2016. Turns out Trump won. Why? Because of Obama.
So you think if
We thought the same. We thought the same in 2000. We thought that Gore was gonna magically win. Turns out Bush won.
do you really
Even
think
though
that
Bush wasn't good.
Yeah,
So
I
you
don't think
that
she lost because of Obama. I think she lost for other reasons. 'Cause she was not only was she extremely out of touch, but Trump spoke to the issues that people actually cared about, and
do
like with
you
the old
think that
Republican Party.
do you think if Trump, like if Obama was allowed to run for like a third term or something like that, do you think Trump would have actually beat him in 16? Or like how do you think that would have went down?
Well, I'd probably say that he would probably win because during the 2016 election he was popular. So,
Who, Obama?
uh,
Well, to be fair, though, that could
yeah,
have changed
Obama.
to being an actual candidate,
That what?
and that could have changed.
That what?
That his popularity, like it could have changed with him being a candidate.
Right.
Oh, but anyways, I also think that
I mean, with this scenario of Obama running for a third term, is this scenario like where he just ignores the Constitution, or there's like an erased part of the Constitution where you can run for how many terms you want?
I don't know. Cuz that could play a factor, but I mean, but all right, guys, I am going to end the stream here because I do need to go to bed soon and I got to work on a couple of other things. By the way, if you guys didn't see this, I'm also a video game developer as well. And I did actually drop a video of my latest game that I'm working on. So it's like a Five Nights at Freddy's style thing. It's actually a FNAF game that blew up because it has like a political storyline or whatever. Like there's a lot of government conspiracy things within this, but this is my video game and this is me. So if you guys do want to check that out, you guys can. You don't have to. I know that this is really random, but if you guys are willing to check it out, I would appreciate it. But as of right now, that is pretty much it for the stream. If you guys did enjoy, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, follow the Twitter down below, join our Discord server to get to talk to us, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Hold on, guys. Let me just end.
What a stream.